Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very interesting knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Kubey Veloce. I honestly don't know how to pronounce the name of it. And you know, it's a really good looking knife folded up. It's a bit of a surprise when you get the blade out. That's weird. It's a lot, not as tall as I would have expected it to be. You know, some people are going to see that and find it to be aesthetically, not displeasing, just aesthetically odd. And other people, you might not find it odd at all. There are a lot of good things about this knife. Including the price tag. It can be a bit all over the place. This is a weird one where you might find it less in some places, but even at the maximum that I'm seeing it consistently, I find it to be a pretty fair price tag, especially considering it's S90V, which is the added presence of S90V, or the additional presence of S90V in knives of this caliber, is very, very welcome. Now in 2023, I'm really happy that we're seeing more S90V, so that's great. I'll link this knife down below so you guys can check it out. Thanks so much to Kubey for sending it in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and measure it. Overall length coming in at 8.6 inches. Blade length coming in at 3.75. Cutting edge, a little shy of 3 1/8. Nice big forward twill there. How about some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2? Definitely what I'd call a full-size knife. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3? There we go. And then last but not least, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Benchmade Bug Outs. Alrighty, how's the action on this knife? If you didn't know, Kubey knives are made in China. They definitely are a premium knife manufacturer, and they are a budget knife manufacturer, and they have great knives in both categories. They definitely have some goofy, weird, unique designs, but I kind of like that. I like when we have different things, even if not all of them are aesthetically appealing to me. I like that Kubey is a company who will take some chances. This is a good example of that. The action is very good. The D10 is tuned properly. You can use this little opening hole to do the reverse flick. It's a lot harder to do it this way, but really the flipper tab works just fine, and the little slot works for the reverse flick. Feels good, nice and smooth and consistent in here. Not drop shot, but plenty smooth, and a nice clicky medium detent, maybe leaning slightly towards the medium heavy side. Not a heavy detent, but medium heavy side, right? It might also be that I'm just putting pressure on the lock bar as I'm doing this. Something else that I appreciate here is that we have a full backspacer and full milled titanium clip, which is something that should be noted, right? The action is good. The quality is there. Kubey demonstrating that they can, make a competitive knife in 2023 for sure. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's slightly thicker, not crazy. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This guy is going to be similar in the pocket to the Spyderco Para 3. It's about the same overall length. And height-wise, it is actually fairly close, including the flipper tab. It's definitely bigger than the Para 3. This guy is also going to be heavier because we are looking at a full titanium construction on this variant. Milled out for weight reduction though. And the blade stock, I don't think the blade stock's actually that thick. I'm going to guess that that's about 125 thousandths. Let's see if I'm right. Come on now, big guy. There we go. No, it's actually even thicker, 137 thousandths. Wow, that is really deceptive. It really does not. Look at this. That does not look that thick. 137 thousandths. Okay. Weight. The weight on this guy, I'm going to guess it's 4.75. Oh, those tails noping out today. We don't want grams, we want ounces. There we go. 4.34. Okay, what did I guess? 4.75. Okay, I was off. 4.34. Not bad, right? Not terrible. Balance on this knife for anybody who cares. Not that it's really all that important. The balance is going to be about here, back from the pivot aways, but not bad. Truthfully, it doesn't feel like a big bulky knife at all, so you're probably going to be just fine. let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. We are looking at a T8 pivot, a T8 lock bar insert screw, a T8 pocket clip screw, bless it, and just a couple of T8 body screws. That's very nice. Oh, this one's a little bit loosey-goosey. We can't have that. Hold on, everybody. Let's use this trusty driver to screw this down. You know what I'm seeing here is this. Are we about to learn a secret? What's going on? These are spinning in... Oh! Are these two connected? Let's see. They are. Free spinning and connected handle screws. All right. Give me a moment here and we're going to pull these out and see what's going on. Normally, this is not how these go together. They're like threaded into the backspacer, but these are apparently threaded together. They're not. They're actually coming apart pretty easily. I'm just very curious. Is there like a... is there like a tube in there that both sides are connected to? I'm just really... Yeah, okay, there's a tube right there, and then the tube spins. That's weird. That shouldn't be the case. We shouldn't need two drivers for the handle screws, right? These should not be like dependent on each other. That's dumb. So Kubey, that's not really that big of a deal. I mean, even people who don't have two drivers, I mean, it's not like this is an inaccessible thing. It's just annoying, right? I mean, we really don't need that to be the case. So not that big of a deal. Still minimal hardware. It's just kind of an annoying setup there. Free spinning pivot is annoying. Free spinning and connected handle hardware is also kind of annoying, but there you go, right? Me being a very nitpicky reviewer there. Still should be very easy to take apart and put back together. Okay, did we do everything? Should we move into the meat and potatoes? Okay, this is a freaking weird looking knife. Right off the bat, I just really want the blade to be taller, and I think they could have easily accomplished this. Not quite out to the tip, but this belly area in here I think could have absolutely been deeper, and I think honestly the frame of the knife is plenty accommodating for that. In fact, looking at the edge, it's nowhere near the backspacer. The backspacer, you know, if it is close to it, it could easily have been sort of hewed out or carved out to accommodate for the blade being deeper. Why do I want that? It looks better, and also at this angle, if we just keep the exact same angle, having more material down here means that the edge gets thinner. As it sits, the edge is fine. It's kind of thick, right? But it'll still slice. It is feeling closer to a tear. You can see there's a little bit of lifting on these edges here. I think people might be confused as to what I mean by that. You can see the edges are kind of rolling up and over, right? So we're dividing the material. Ooh, we actually got a pretty clean bite there. We're dividing the material, but it's kind of tearing them apart rather than slicing through them. And this is really not that big of a deal, right? It will obviously still slice and cut, but I think it would do better. It would better accentuate the attributes of S90V if we just had, the blade come down here. And it would look a little bit better too. As it sits, it's okay though. There's nothing wrong here. It's just a little weird. And you know what? Ergonomically, this is actually an absolute joy to hang on to. The choke-up position is fantastic. The jimping actually extends out to a useful area, complements the index finger position nicely. These areas are nicely chamfered down. The machining on this is beautiful. It's really nice. I love how it sort of just drops in here, right? It's not like just one consistent carved out zone. It drops into the milling, how they do that. It's really nice. It just looks very modern and sleek, right? Really cool. Plenty of access for the liner lock. No double clutch. Easy drop down onto the, onto the thumb there with the flipper tab. So very easy to manipulate with one hand. Very comfortable. Little bit, if your reverse flick finger is not well muscled, This might be a little bit hard. I think the detent's more tuned for the flipper. That's why I call it medium heavy, right? But it still works. This area inside of the hole has been chamfered down. I also really appreciate how they use this area here right off of the hole. They sort of mill that and have it come all the way out to the nose of the blade, and then it just kind of ends, right? It could have opened up into the swedge or kind of just sort of taper down into nothingness here, but it's kind of interesting. It's an odd blade. It's different for sure, right? It works, definitely. We have a bead blasted, I mean, as far as I can tell, it's a blasted blade and a blasted frame, which is okay. That's fine. It looks good. It's not going to matter too much on S90V. S90V is plenty stainless, not stain proof, not rust proof, but plenty stainless, right? If you're wondering, S90V will absolutely, when heat treated properly, absolutely outperform M390 in the edge retention department. It's also actually tougher than I originally had assumed. In my experience, it's tougher than M390, right? When we're talking about hitting those actual high hardness numbers that we want to, get the edge retention where we want it. It also, when you get that high in hardness, you're sacrificing toughness, which is the issue that I have with M390 when it's actually heat treated properly. It's freaking chippy and it drives me nuts. S90V, my initial experience with it, which was years ago, was that it was also chippy. But I must have just had kind of a poopy, kind of off-the-wall heat treat. Here lately, a lot of the S90V that I've been using, mainly in the bug out, the Benchmade bug out, this one here's an S90V. This has been wonderful. I actually really I prefer S90V to M390. I'll sacrifice a little. It's got a little bit less stainlessness, but the same or better, at least when it comes to toughness, and definitely better edge retention. I think it's better steel all the way around. And honestly, I think this steel should be present on we have way too many knives out there in M390, and I think S90V is better. So when you can get it for a good price, I think it's an awesome, not just a substitute, but a supplement for M390 for sure. That's just my opinion, though. Some people are going to prefer M390. Anyways, ergonomically, very good. Choke up position, good. Blade shape's a little bit funky, but it's cool, right? It's interesting. Outside of that, there's not really a whole lot to say here. Here's the designer, which I have seen a couple of times on this channel. It says S90V and it says Kubey, which is nice. Kubey is one of those brands that doesn't put a bunch of crap all over the blade, like codes and websites and whatever Microtech does, right? With their big, crazy, they have like a parade that they put on their blades. Absolutely ridiculous. No, Kubey doesn't do that, right? So it's nice. You can just enjoy it. We have a lanyard thing. That's great. Lanyard people, right? No mounting position for left-handed people. We really need to be doing a better job of this across the board. I'm not just talking to Kubey. I'm talking about all companies. Just make the freaking spot for left-handed people, right? I understand in this case, you're like, oh, it takes away from the design because we have to mill a slot. Then it really isn't. Or design a different way to connect the pocket clip to the frame so that you don't have to create this weird spot on the knife that bothers like 7 total people, right? I mean, we're going to accommodate for people who carry lanyards, which is essentially nobody in 2023, but not left-handed people, which make up like 10% of the population. Come on, I'm right-handed, right? But come on, let's get real. Make knives for left-handed people. It's insane. The pocket clip is good, right? Milled, it's flat. We got this little bit of an edge here, but not sharp. Nice ramp in and out of the pocket, very smooth. It also follows the design. I appreciate that. Looks really nice. We have a steel lock bar insert that doubles as the over travel stop. We have a deep stop pin that there's plenty of shouldering there. Totally disappears under that. No blade play, up, down, left, or right. Very solid. Typical of Kubey. No lock stick. No double clutch, no pivot lash. Very smooth, very consistent in here. And a nice clicky detent with no detent lash. And how are we on centering? Hey, that looks dead center to me. All right. This is a weird one. There apparently exists an authentic version of this that comes in S30V. And I found it on the dreaded AliExpress, right? Which is a place where you can get knives, but it's not my favorite place to send people, right? They, at some point, decided to do S90V variants of this. So while you're buying this, when you're looking around for it, if you don't want to use my links, that's fine. If you're price shopping, because this is a knife that has a wide price range. I'm going to tell you, I have found this knife as low as $175 on old listings and as high as $220. Even at $220, this is very competitive. Not the most competitive thing in the whole world. I mean, even Kubey within their own line has knives that are utilizing the exact same materials for about $20 to $25 less. But if you're going to price shop, that's fine. Just be aware. Make sure that you are actually looking at the S90V version and make sure that you're buying from a place that you trust, right? I don't trust Ally Express or DH Gate or any of those places. I know that you can get knives there, right, and they ship, but I just don't trust them, so I don't like to send people there. So you can shop around if you want to. I'll link it with as low a price as I can, but if you want to buy it from an authorized, I would suggest that you pay a little bit more and buy it from an authorized retailer that's actually going to ship from the USA, right? Because you buy something from Ally Express, or good luck returning it, right? It's just not worth it to me. Yeah, even at the max price of $220, I think this is a pretty fair deal. It's just weird. It's just awkward. I don't think it's for everybody, right? If you like it, go for it. I think you'll be fine, but I'm not ready to say that I recommend this generally, like to everybody. It is built well. The materials are good. Kubey has done a great job with this. I just feel like Kubey is very close to having a knock it out of the park design. And if they can get one and have a good, consistent price tag on it, it'll just be amazing. But this is another good knife from Kubey, right? So that's going to be pretty much it today. Thanks so much to Kubey for sending this in. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.